Hey everybody, and welcome to another video. Today, I want to showcase my furnace array design I made all by myself, with some help and feedback from my friends. I call it the Smooth Tech Super Duper Hoot Style Special Double Trouble Twin Sisters. This one is Susan, and this one is Mary. I gave them names because I didn't want people saying left side, or west corner, or something like that. This beast of a system is 36 stacks of furnaces, or 2,304 units. And when all the cores are working, it processes 36 boxes of items in about 10 minutes. Is it a perfect system with no flaws? Absolutely not. But I'm proud of it, and it works, and I'm going to show you all how the redstone works and to show me using it. First, you may be wondering why I'm in the end dimension and why everything is covered in glass or slabs. Well, behind me here, this is the concrete factory storage, and we've got room for all these things here. We've got concrete powders, and glass, and sand, and gravel, and other things. And so we're using a data pack that lets me smelt colored sand into colored glass. See, I've already got some glass here. And so I've made this in the end to make sure that we can use this for smelting the colored sand into colored glass and to throw it right back into this bulk storage. And to make sure that no Endermen spawn anywhere in this thing. Because that would be bad. I don't want Endermen messing with the carts. And so I'm also running the copper farm over there, so no Endermen are going to spawn right now. So it's a great time to showcase this video. This furnace array. And so without further ado, let's get started with how this furnace system works. And we're going to start with the order of operations. Input 9 boxes of items into the chest carts above. Dispense carts and load them in the stations. Fill up the carts with 64 items. Launch the carts over the furnaces. And repeat. I'm going to start with putting boxes of items into the carts up above. So notice how there's 4 chest minecarts here. And the sign says 9 full boxes only. So that's what I'm going to do. We're going to put 9 boxes of sand in here. And here. And here. And I'm going to go grab some more real fast. I can also just hold boxes in this chest to make this process easier. So now we're just gonna send them all off. Now, come look over here. That is what happens on all the sides. The boxes go to this double speed unloader here. There's this cart. And there's some hoppers. There's too many hoppers, but it's okay. It's okay. They're just gonna go filter into here. All these droppers. And that's happened on all 4 sides. And so that's just the input part. The first step is to dispense hopper minecarts on these sloped rails. Now, there's just a bunch of minecarts in here and in all the hoppers. Now, the minecarts are going to go above these hoppers and into these slopes right here. These fence gates are here to keep the minecarts in place. And that's the first step. And then the second step... Oh, look. The boxes have just finished emptying into the hoppers. The second step is to dispense exactly 64 items into the hopper carts that are here. The items are sitting right here. The items will be transferred over using these observers and rails. They're going to dispense exactly 64 items into all these carts. But how are they going to do that? Using this system right here. This is called a pulse multiplier. N+2 pulse multiplier. And it sends the signal that goes up to both of the levels. And I can just look right over here. Here it is right here. N+2 pulse multiplier. And so I've got 62 items in here. And that's how this works. And so that is step 2. Alright, so while step 2 is happening, while the 64 items are being transferred, this pulse goes to that observer behind those droppers, and it also goes up here. There's a dropper over here. This dropper has an item in it. Whoops. It has an item in it. And it's going to keep pushing that item into this hopper. And when that happens, this comparator turns off and moves this observer back. And then, when all the items are done moving, the item will go back in the dropper, comparator turns back on, and this piston goes, which activates this. Opens up all the fence gates, and there's an extra redstone line right here that will move this piston, it will move this observer to this block, which will temporarily power the note block, which activates the system again. It refreshes the cycle, and so this is the cycle of carts. And so you can see it right there. It moves it, which starts the system up again, which gives the carts just enough time to leave the station and for new carts to be put back in. And that's step 3. And while we're at it, I want to show you something. Let's get a cart from right here. I'm going to go to the other side. So the carts are going to go over these hoppers and drop off all the sand into the furnaces. And then the cart goes into this water stream and spends just enough time here before going under the same furnaces that it went over. How cool is that? That's what I like about this system. And then the cart just gets yeeted, and the cart will be sent off this way, just like that, and items will flush down this way. And so this cart goes all the way back where it came from, into the hopper here. And so the items will get flushed down this way and into the stream down there. And it's just like this on both sides. And so that's the order of operations, and that is how the system works. It's a really neat system, and so it keeps cycling itself to repeat these steps over and over until it gets empty. Now, how does the system know if it's empty? When items come down into this dropper, this comparator lights up, which this observer sees and moves this observer out of the way. Now, when this dropper empties, the whole system empties, the comparator turns off, the observer sees that and pulls this observer back, which activates this pulse extender here, which this piston pulls this observer away, and then when the pulse stops, it pushes the observer back, which this piston pulls this note block back, turning off the system. And that's how the system turns itself off when it's empty. It uses observer technology and note blocks, and it uses a bunch of toggle states. I'm going to admit it uses a bunch of toggle states, but this is the smart way to do it. This is the smart way that I figured out how to do it. By the way, this system down here has an extra system that this observer sees, and it just moves this observer which there's two repeaters here. It powers this piston either way. There's a piston down here that will activate this observer down here. And it will activate this dispenser. This dispenser has a lava bucket in it. And the lava will take just enough time to come down, and this observer down here will see that. And that's how this piston right here, this piston would be right here below here, and move this redstone block, which activates the pulse multiplier again. And that's how step 2 continues to cycle. That's how step 2 keeps going. So yeah, that special little system is on both sides. So you can see the lava over there. It doesn't matter which state the lava's in, the observer at the bottom sees it either way. And it'll activate the pulse multiplier. Right here. So yeah, that's a neat little system that I put in there. I got an idea from someone on Discord. Someone on Discord showed me the lava trick. It lets you get a longer pulse just by flowing lava. You can also flow water down and let an observer see that. So that's a fun little trick you can do if you want some delays in your circuits, is use some lava or water and an observer. By the way, I do want to mention the fuel carts. They come from this way, and they come down here. They fall down onto this rail and get yeeted. And they get yeeted into this little hidden hopper stream over here, into here. And so that happens down here, and also down here. And see, there's these water streams. They go on each level. Yep. There's water streams all over this system. And it's pretty much always for moving hopper minecarts. From here to there. From one side to the other. It's all about moving hopper minecarts. So none of them get lost. But sometimes hopper minecarts do get lost in the system, and so that's a flaw that I'm just going to have to deal with. I'm just going to have to craft more hopper minecarts and fill them up. Fill up these chests if we ever lose them. You can lose some hopper minecarts when trying to cart yeet them using the fire, but it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Now, let's talk about the activation lines. Right now, this furnace array can't do anything because it's turned off. Now, let's see what that means. This redstone line splits into 3 ways. Let's travel up these torch towers. There's 3 different torch towers. This one moves this piston in place. So, once it turns on, this pulse multiplier can go. Now let's look at the second torch tower. It goes up, 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 all the way up to here. This piston moves this block in place so that this system down here can activate it. This is a smart little way to activate all the 4 circuits at once. This right here, and I'll show you in a little bit. But yeah, it moves this block in place so this can happen. And now, let's look at the third torch tower. It's right here. It goes up, 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 right here. And it moves this block in place for this lower circuit. So, that's what this does. This is the activation lines. So, what this means is that this primes the system so it can work. And it's like that on this side too. But there's different torch towers, and it moves blocks in and out of the way, or it moves these pistons in and out of the way. See, over here there's just a piston because the torch tower is right next to it. How convenient is that? So That's what these torch towers are. If you see a torch tower, it's probably an activation line. It moves a piston, which moves a block in place or out of the way. Everything is so tightly integrated, and it's just really nice. It's I think I've made it nice to just use one lever for multiple lines. You know, just one lever for these 3 lines. Make it easy on the user. Make it easy on the user. So it's also like that for the fuel cores. The fuel cores use the same kind of systems as the input. So you can see the lava here. You can see the lava there. You can see how pistons move in place and blocks are moved in place. And so that's how the activation lines work. Now, let's talk about these 2 note blocks. There's a note block. There's a note block to activate the system. There's a note block to activate this input system too. And that's where these rails and observers come into play. And there's this extra torch tower, which activates it. It activates the note block and turns on the systems. And so once you turn on the systems, it'll keep looping forever until it empties. So yeah, it's a pretty smart system. It's a pretty smart system. So this is what you do after you do the switches. After you do the switches. Now let's look over here. This, you gotta read the signs. You get to spawn a player here on the pressure plate. The pressure plate is right here. Well, guess what? This guy's not standing on it. What does that mean? Let's travel this redstone line in both directions. It goes underneath the floor, and it goes over here to these repeaters, and you can see those torches right there. That's powering these rails, and so this pulse multiplier can't do anything. Can't do anything with powered rails. So if the guy steps on the pressure plate, then these torches will turn off, which turns these off, which lets the system be able to function. And it's like that on this side too. We'll travel on this side under the floor. And it's just the same over here. There's torches and repeaters. And on this side too. So it's essentially the exact same systems that work the fuel and the input. They're just mirrored. And so notice how it says do this before activating the other switches. So we have to do this before turning these on. It's just for safety reasons. It's just for safety reasons. It makes it so the system can run smoothly without spinning any items anywhere. That could be an issue. It just makes a little mess. And so now, the very last step, all the items get pushed into these water streams under the floor from both sides, and they flow right into this trapdoor, where I'm able to pick it up and put them in this box. And so now I'm going to show you the system working. I'm going to show it to you in action. I'm sure you're waiting to see it. Alright, let's see this bad boy in action. And there we go. He's primed the whole system to be used. And now I'm going to come over here and activate these. Move everything in place. Move everything in place. Ignore this part. This is just the fuel going. But there's no fuel right now. These are just empty carts. We're going to pay attention to this over here. So we've turned on these lights right here. Now I'm going to activate the system. Look at that. You can see him. It did leave a little bit of a mess. Oh well. But this is going to do this. 64 items. And then look. These get pulled in just in time. And then it happens. And now, really soon, I'm going to get items coming in. Yeah, I did get a little spill this time. That'll happen. It's really not a big deal. That's something that can happen with this system. But here we go. Bunch of glass. See, now we're getting all glass. And that's how it's going to be. So yeah, this is going to keep going until it's empty. This has been lit up. This observer's out of the way. See that? That activated the carts. Those come in. And yeah, this is just going to keep going. And the same carts that went over the furnaces go underneath. Just like so. And you can see these carts getting put back into the system. These carts right here make all these items flush down. Right here. So look at all this glass. So it may make a little mess on startup. Sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't even make a mess. But this system is really, really fast. And so I hope you enjoyed this explanation. It's not a perfect system. Sometimes it makes a little mess. But this system is really smart. And you can see it working just fine right now. My inventory is just full of glass. So yeah. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. This is my furnace array design.